For Duff, the penal system needs to be thought of from a dual perspective. From a societal perspective, something that we do upon criminals, and from a criminal's perspective, something they undertake to reform. Duff argues that if a wrongdoer takes serious notice of his own wrongdoing, this will make a difference to his future conduct. The offender will see that he must respond to what he has done, and the response must be directed at the victim of his wrongdoing. Second, he will determine that he must avoid conducting the criminal action in the future and address the circumstances that caused and facilitated the wrongdoing. This, Duff argues, is linking the responsibility to the crime. For example, when I have done wrong, I must take responsibility for the wrong, which involves recognizing and responding to it. Taking responsibility for my actions is connected to being held responsible for them by others. In holding others responsible for their actions, in calling for them to account or to answer for those actions, we try and bring them to take responsibility for those actions. Duff seems to have a similar philosophical approach to that of Kant, believing that this action of taking moral responsibility is not a utilitarian requirement, but an acknowledgement of the offender as a responsible agent, required to identify their wrongdoings. Having the offender take this responsibility is not only to the benefit of the victim of the crime, but also to the requirement of treating offenders not as a social outgroup, but as a member of society. Duff anguishes over how the justice system treats offenders as outsiders to society, acting as if they have now forfeited their civic standing. Duff does not imply that offenders don't sometimes need to be removed from society and put in prison, as sometimes this is required, but instead saying, I can only assert that I take to be a fundamental principle of a decent society, that it treats all its members, including those who have committed criminal wrongs, with equal concern and respect. Concern is for their well-being, while respect is for their status as responsible citizens. If we take this principle seriously, our collective response to wrongs must aim still to treat their perpetrators with the appropriate concern and respect.